Are you all connected? Thank you for inviting me here and welcome to you all from my side. I'm going to speak about making lean stick. It has been a long personal problem of mine. I have trained many people on lean implementation and very few of them were ever completely successful, and that's just disappointing. So I studied a lot on how to overcome that. Now, just as a refresher, what can lean do for an organization? I know you are all familiar with it, but just to set the background. The customer is better served through faster delivery, a wider choice, better quality, and various other factors. And the company can also benefit. The organization can also benefit. With less costs, more space, more time, better morale. Just to mention a few. And this is a nice summary that I figured out on lean. It becomes like a pipeline. If you open the tap, the water flows, and it is connected to all those sources with various narrow, thin pipes. Now, to get that going, that is why we had to invent all these tools to facilitate this flow. And if I see it this way, it clicks nicely in my mind what you need and why you need it. But anyhow, back to the topic. The implementations I've been involved with, and there were many varieties of this. Some followed Kaizen blitzes here, there, and there, everywhere, and along the way they became lean. Others followed complicated, structural, programmed implementation paths. Do this, then do this. The same recipe for all. Others followed a system, value stream management, which you train people, you prepare the ground, and then you do the value stream mapping to see what is required, and then you implement those tools that are relevant. It's like giving the right prescription, not just giving medicine because you have it. And then change management seems to be involved with all of those. And that was the total extent of implementation that I encountered along the way. These are also elements of implementation that I discovered are used a lot among companies in South Africa. They create a burning platform so that you can get people convinced there has to be a reason why we do it. Not create a burning platform. I mean, there's enough burning platforms in South Africa. We have competition against China, against India, against the rest of the world because we're so isolated. Rates are not cheap as they are in China. So there's enough of a burning platform just to get that going. Other vital elements, top management buy-in, training, goal alignment, value stream mapping, implementing the appropriate tools. And some say, let's get started, let's stabilize, let's get all the work standardized, all the tasks, and let's get 5S going so it makes a sudden meaningful difference and it gets everybody involved and excited. Okay, but that's not what this is about. That's just to show what I've been involved with in the past. This is what bothered me then. For the past few years, this has been the shocking discovery, and I thought it was only me. And I became seriously depressed. Then I heard consultants say, one of them said, 4 out of the 17 that he has worked with were successful implementations. they're not willing to commit themselves. Others say less than a handful. And then the books, Jeffrey Liker, who's supposed to be an expert, he says less than 10% of lean implementations are successful. And another Industry Week magazine says 2% of lean implementations are successful. Now that is seriously depressing. Anyhow, so what should one do? What do you do? There's too many reasons for failure. We're up against the wind, up against the storm. There's entropy. Things just deteriorate. Things become disorganized. The discipline you had, all the things that you've installed, in time they'll deteriorate and just fall back to the way it was. There's firefighting. There's this storm, there's an audit from Volkswagen, there's something else that happens and you lose the focus. Firefighting. Complacency. Absence of passion. What is that? Absence of interest. Lack of commitment. Lack of discipline. I personally think this is quite an important one. And preoccupation with the lean tools. We must do a Kanban. We haven't done a Kanban yet. We haven't done a 5S yet. So that's not the right focus. More excuses than enablers, I think. So what can one do? What makes it stick? For that, you need to think, what is the essence of a lean organization? What makes an organization lean then? Is it the behaviors or the culture? Is it the tools that you've applied? Michigan State University has got a beautiful assessment, an audit that you can do to assess your state of lean implementation. We've created one, but I'm not too impressed with that. It asks whether you've done this, whether you've done that, and whether you've done that, whether you've conformed and received all the ticks. Is it in one-piece flow? Is it in your Kanban? Is it in TPM, TQM? The extent to which you've applied it. That doesn't feel right. Because you can do it and still fail. Is it in your culture? Is it in the attitudes of the people? There's a beautiful culture assessment also, several of them in text. So to think, maybe this is a little biased thing towards the way I think it now. I think lean is, there is no steady state. You never arrive at the pitch at which you can say, I'm lean now. Entropy is always at work. Entropy means things go worse. This guy said, lean is a journey. You don't become lean, you embark on the road. And when you're on that road and people can see you busy working to get there, that is vintage lean. So if you go to Toyota and you ask them, how are you lean? They say, no, we're not there yet. We're still improving. That's scary. But that is maybe the good thing. That is what matters. So how do you keep this going? Peter Hines says, if you can change the culture, you will have this improvement, this rate of improvement. If you do the Kaizen Blitz, that is the rate you can improve slowly. But then in time, it will probably fade out. So according to him, you need this lean culture change, the engagement and the involvement. Just going briefly, a few definitions of what books say. Sustainability. The ability of an organization to adapt to change in the business environment by capturing best practice method and then to achieve and maintain superior performance. It means you're on a growing path. Another one, continued effectiveness. So you must sustain what you have achieved. Continued effectiveness and capacity to adapt and replace interventions within context that constantly change. Your environment will constantly change and you must grow. Embedding practices within an organization. Also, just the last one, I think, continued use of the core elements and then persistence of improved performance. Now this one has two elements. It says you must sustain what you have and you must grow to become better. I'll come back to this. So you need continued improvement in quality, cost and delivery. That is the outcome of your lean. That is a way to test it. Are these things steadily improving? Is your inventory coming down? Continued participation and commitment. Continued search, discovery and elimination of waste and variation. Right. So I'm still not there. How do we do this? I read a lot. This was my main focus, sustainability, and I tried to find every article that I could put my hands on. And I appointed some of my students to research this as a shortcut. Let's see what these are now solutions, what they say to get there. What Bowman says, it's continued leadership. This is also again various clues, various solutions that they say how to do that from the literature. One says continued leadership support. Don't worry, I'll summarize these afterwards. Follow-up booster activity at regular intervals. So you have to keep the gas flowing. Upton says you must have clear targets, common understanding of the direction, consistent path of improvement, compelling motivation and energy, and some structures to prevent you from backsliding. Now we're getting somewhere. Last one, I think. Bateman says some activities to realize, to fasten it, to bind it. The process improvement and activity by shop floor contribution, engagement, and shop floor and managers, maintenance and focus. That's the one. And the other one then, to achieve the growth, maintain consistency and buy-in, set clear direction of goals, maintain factory level support and focus. Sorry, I'm going fast, but I want to get to the nice part. A last one here. Create and sustain new behaviors. But I'll skip this one. This one says, how do you sustain the improvements? How do you make sure that you keep growing? Document them, make sure you document them, standardize them, develop metrics to measure them, assess group dynamics, and reward accomplishment. I'm just reading now because this is what I discovered in the literature. So I pulled, I'll skip this one, still active steering committee, empower the employees, and effective audits. So you see, it's quite a variety and assembly of wisdom that people have encountered. And these were from people, from studies in factories. What made you successful? What makes you sustainable? And there's different conclusions that they've drawn from this. So there's no single secret. But I'll try to distill from this what I think is required. This is the best of those. Leadership. Definitely leadership. Goal alignment. A culture change towards a continuous improvement culture. Respect for people And with this one, they mean participation, engagement, involvement of the people. Some discipline to prevent backsliding, a supportive culture that sustains all these things, and perseverance, never stop. A luta continua, they say, let the battle keep going on. So just a quick summary, you can say, is so you have actions to sustain what you've achieved, to maintain the gains, to keep the ground, and then you have actions to grow. That would keep you, that would sustain the lean, and this would keep you growing, fostering the other path. So you need to not to fall. And here are some things you can do to sustain the gains. Those things I've summarized, I'll explain them now, and some to increase the lift. Right, let's look at the sustainable gains. What can you do to make sure you don't fall back? You do need leadership. Without a passionate and involved leadership, it is lost. To make sure you don't go back. You do need goal alignment, making sure the staff is on the same road as you. You do need discipline, cleaning the place, the maintenance, the generation of ideas. All those things need to be audited, monitored, disciplined. There's some hard work, solid, continual work involved there in discipline. You need a supportive infrastructure where everybody is involved in this. Your accounting supports this, the suppliers supports this environment, and you need perseverance, passion. This is to sustain the gains. For leadership, just for as far as the leadership is concerned, enthusiasm, support. Genshi Genbutsu, those of you who know me, you go look, see for yourself. Go to Gemba and see for yourself. So leadership, management has to be involved. They have to be seen on the shop floor every day. And participation. Participation with the audits, participation with the functions. Okay, that is the leadership. Goal alignment, that's getting them to understand why we're doing the lean. Commit to the vision. Get the staff now to commit to the vision and communicate, training. One company has, that I've seen, that every year they have a big gala function where they hand out awards to the team who has had the best ideas, all kinds of criteria, to keep people believing and to keep them into the goal. How do you maintain the discipline? With standardized work, poker yogis, physical error-proof devices. Also, again, the discipline, you maintain them if management keeps walking the ground every day, if they're present at Gemba. One thing which we agreed, I talked to Ricardo. What is nice about Ricardo is he's actually done these things. He's seen implementation that works. And he also agrees that you do need to have a permanent lean team. Else you lose the focus. You have to have someone there, in spite of everything that occurs, who will keep the passion and who will be involved. And then audits, finally, this for the discipline. Housekeeping, cleaning, total productive maintenance, to keep the ideas flowing, and auditing of the metrics, quality, delivery, cost. And the final thing about sustaining the culture is HR systems, rewards, performance evaluation, so that you get appreciated. The accounting system, the layout, and the management system. These would make up the supportive culture. And perseverance. I don't have, in Afrikaans we have a word, vastbyt. It means keep biting. This is what you need here, vastbyt. Perseverance, have a long-term vision. Keep up the training. Do benchmarking and attend conferences. Okay. That is just to prevent the backsliding, to make sure you're solid and you're not falling back to where you came from. Now, to change, that's not satisfactory if you just remain where you were. You want to improve. That is also sustaining lean. To feed the process of change, you need some source of ideas now. These ideas will have to be cultivated. More ideas lead to more opportunities. It's not worth just leaving it to management to do that. Here you need the engagement, and that's what the next session is also going to be about. The passion of the whole staff. Empower the workforce and obtain ideas from outside. That is how you get the seeds for growth, for change. You need to grow this continuous improvement culture. That is what it's about. So give training to shop floor work on aspects like this: teamwork, problem solving, suggestions, and multi-skilling. These are the normal workers, or the associates, like they call it. Create a culture where it is okay to make mistakes, so that I think it is essential to develop this sense of trust to both sides. Reward systems for ideas and for improvements that they've made. Improvement also, do benchmarking by go seeing what other organizations have achieved and what they have done. And also by attending conferences like this. This is where you see the opportunities and the tools on what to do. And then also in empowering the people, engaging them, it's called respect for people. Support the processes by regular visits to the factory floor. Encourage participation with ideas, problem solving, build trust. Team building, group initiatives. So these last few slides have much to do with trying to get your whole workforce involved to generate the new ideas. Because then you have all those brains thinking, giving ideas, and there where they actually work, seeing the opportunities and helping to suggest improvements. So that is the empowerment and the engagement. I think that it has been lacking so much. If you can achieve this kind of involvement, it will really, I think it will prevent a lot of the backsliding that occurs. So to summarize it, here I said here are the tools to sustain the gains: leadership, goal alignment, discipline, supportive culture, perseverance, and then to sustain the growth, the continuous improvement culture, and by empowering the people. I'm not claiming that this is the best that I could find with my research. And I have a suspicion that if you can get these tools implemented, these principles implemented, that it will go a long way to sustaining. Because this was what other people have learned, what they have encountered of best practices to prevent backsliding. And the sources. Okay.